So we're going back with the big tug stuff. Who doesn't love big tug? But also, you did something about apartments, and as someone who does pest control IRL, I want to see if he gets into it. And if he does, there'll be a couple more things that I do want to break down and give you some helpful tips on how to get rid of bugs and whatnot. So, without further ado, actually, I don't want to turn this up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it.
Well, it's the middle of June, which means a few things. Pride Month is in full effect, against the wishes of people who suck. People across the country are trying to figure out what to buy their fathers for Father's Day. Quick tip, there's no good answer to that question. And finally, cities and towns across this great United States are full of double-parked moving vans because for some reason, everyone's lease is up in June. Ah, yes, moving. Yeah. The worst thing a human being can experience besides childbirth or, like, breaking a...
Brother, as someone who's moved to, like, 4 different states and just moved in that one state like 7 different times. My God, do I hate moving. I have like, what, 7, 8 bags worth of shit, and then my bed and my desk. And that's really about it. And that's a pain in the ass. If I were to calculate how much money I've used just to move, I'm pretty sure I'm looking over at like 10 grand. And like 3 grand of that is pizza for the people that helped me, bro.
Femur. You can call me a soft-handed baby bitch all you want, but if I have to try and fit a sofa through a door frame that's too small or drive an oversized U-Haul on a tiny road, I'm gonna end up on the news. Moving is obviously a nightmare, but people also don't realize the problems that come before you even start moving. Apartment hunting, dealing with your old landlord and your new landlord, paying for a bunch of fees you didn't know existed. And I know what you're thinking, oh Tucker, I love apartment hunting. I love going on Zillow in the middle of December to see apartments that I could never afford for the rest of my life. But if you've ever moved apartments, you know that is the surface level BS that you get to enjoy before you dive deep into the iceberg. So let me break down all the pains and scams that come with finding a new apartment in hopes that I just make you not move at all. Because even though your current apartment might suck, there's nothing that sucks more than getting a new one. Back to you, Tom. Just a heads up, there was an overwhelming amount of terrible facts and statistics that I found about the renting industry and also apartment hunting as a whole, so this whole video is going to be a little scatterbrained, but it's just going to be, you know, really sad the whole time, so that's good. But let's start slow and see where the end-stage capitalism ball rolls, okay? So we have apartments, the poor man's version of a home and the rich man's version of a refrigerator box. Apartments have been a staple of city life ever since the Roman Empire. Throughout history, they've been crucial in allowing societies to grow by providing housing to immigrants and low-income workers. It also allows people like me to enjoy parts of the country they would never be able to afford normally, and just waste money. I'm wasting money living in New York City. You know, there's some perks that come with apartment living. You don't have to...
Dear God, he's in New York City. I don't know if you've ever been to New York City, but if you haven't, don't. Also, I mean, if you didn't know, because apparently a lot of people don't know this, if you live on a coast, if you live close to a coast, and that even includes some parts of, like, Louisiana and all that good shit, to the bottom of Florida, lower part of California, kind of, you know what I mean? Garbage. It's actually garbage.
To fix anything. That being said, no one fixes anything because landlords suck, but you do have to pay rent, and that doesn't go to anything, and mortgages, that you end up eventually owning the place you live. I don't know. Maybe apartments aren't great. And it's getting worse, actually, because between 2015 and 2020, affordable housing units declined by 4.
Let's take a look at these numbers. God damn. Huh. And if you didn't know, a lot of the houses that are being sold, they're not being sold to people, they're being sold to big conglomerate corporations like BlackRock. It's not even like a fucking conspiracy theory either. That's just like actually what's happening.
0.7 million. So it's kind of hard to find one. So let's take a little stroll down statistic lane and find out exactly why things are rapidly approaching shit town. As we all know, it's really, you can't own a house anymore. So a lot of people are going towards apartments. 38 million Americans, in fact, live in apartments. Huzzah. And because of this, the U.S. is projected to need 4.3 million more apartments by 2035 to keep up with population growth. And the good news is we are building more apartments. We're currently building more apartments right now than we have for the last half century.
Oh, actually, I don't know if he's gonna get into it, so I might as well say it now, right? These new apartment complexes and shit that they're building, and you look like that, specifically like all that wood. As someone who does pest control, I know for a fact that we spray the foundation for like termites, because you know that's just a lot of wood that's just fucking sitting there. But like the thing is, they build them on gravel, so it isn't like termites are really like a big problem, but it does make us a lot of fucking money to do it. But also, now, clearly you can see, like, this is someone's apartment, and would you look at that? Someone's apartment is right above it, and if you couldn't tell, there's an apartment right below it. And oh my God, who would have guessed? If you thought that there's an apartment right behind where this man is standing right now, you would be a god at projection, because I can't believe you figure that one out. Now, let me tell you something right now. If this person right here, the person that moves in here, is dirty as fuck, right? Guess what's gonna happen? Bugs. Crazy, right? Now, guess what happens to those bugs after I come and spray? If you said they go to the next unit up, to the side, or down, congratulations, you deserve a fucking cookie.
Century. That's why you see all those ugly buildings popping up with this horrible kind of architecture. I don't know what this
ugly,
is,
though.
but it makes me want to die. Because of those ugly ass things, nearly 1 million new apartments are going to be popping up by 2025, which would be great if they weren't all for rich people. All of them are being made for rich people. Nearly 90% of new apartment buildings are being built for high-income customers. You know, the type of person that could afford to buy a house. They're building them for them for some reason. Okay, so not a great start. But we can take a look at something a little bit more fun. How about the current state of rent prices?
Garbage.
This video is going to be a bummer, inside and out. U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development defines affordable rent as no more than 30% of your income. Okay, so if you make $40K a year, you should be paying $12K a year in rent, and that's $1,000 a month in rent. I'm good at math. But between 2019 and 2023, wages increased by 20% and rent increased by 30%. Not good.
So
not good
nothing.
at all. Because of that, 21.6 million Americans are paying way more than.
Yeah, let's look at that graph. The fucking water slide. Jesus Christ. Yeah, damn. That's just, it's not good. That's never good. No, people don't want to work. The fuck is you talking about? So people have to work. We just don't want to work for you, because this right here, you do this. And clearly from what, 2020, yeah, 2020 to now? Yeah, goddamn, dude. Fucking hell.
30% of their monthly income on rent. According to a recent study, households with an annual income under $30,000 only have about $310 left over each month after paying rent and utilities. But who needs things like entertainment or friends or daycare or education? Who needs those things when you got a roof, huh? You know what they say, right? Shelter is the main top priority in living a healthy life. Oh man.
Huh. I've only ever seen the meme for this. I've never actually seen it like this. It's crazy. Fair enough.
It's only the bottom of that triangle. I know what you're thinking, Tucker, all the people complaining about rent prices are just those fancy fat cats living in big cities. You could live in a small little shitty city and save a bunch of money. I personally live in Natick, Nebraska, and I only pay a nickel a rent a month, so I don't know what the big fuss is about. Well, you make a good point. Living in some U.S. cities is cheap as hell. I'll give it to you. I mean, it also coincides with lower wages. You're not going to find like an $80K job out the gate when you move to Nebraska. But you know, there's pros and cons to living in a big city compared to a small city. Like sometimes you want to go to a restaurant that you haven't been to a million times, or meet someone new that you haven't met already 20 times at the local supermarket. So to weigh the pros and cons of which American city you should get an apartment in, I have created a completely scientific breakdown of the cheapest and most expensive American cities for a one-bedroom apartment. That way we can look at the numbers and find a balance between boring and sad.
How much you want to bet? I'm going to put money on it right now. How much you want to bet that most of the places that he's going to say that are cheap are in middle America?
And fun and expensive. On the cheap
$50.
side, we have Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I would make fun of that city name, but I live in New York, New York, so whatever. Rent on average is only $850 a month, which is pretty great, but it also sees more tornadoes than any other U.S. city, which is crazy, and it also has the highest rate of suicide. Highest rate, holy fuck. Good rent though, good rent prices. On the expensive side, we have Boston, Massachusetts. It's got a lot of stuff to do. It's got a bunch of college kids running around. Its food is like a 7 out of 10, kinda. It's not really known for its food, but it has one of the worst skylines out of every American city, and also, no matter what race or creed you are, you will be hate crime. So the rent is $2,700 a month for that luxury. For cheap, we have Omaha, Nebraska. Who doesn't love Omaha? Birthplace of the Reuben sandwich and literally nothing else. But rent is only on average $920 a month, which is fantastic until you realize the only thing you can spend your excess income on is either a vacation to get far away from where you live or meth. So make your decision.
It's funny that he said meth as a joke, but as someone who used to truck, and I mean like 18-wheeler truck, and I don't just mean from like one side of the country, from like Florida to New York, because I have done that. Now I'm talking about like from Virginia to California. I've asked people in the middle of America, and I think I'll never forget this one, in Wyoming. No, Is it Wyoming? It's probably Wyoming. Cheyenne, Wyoming. I asked, what do you guys do for fun out here, bro? You want to know what this man told me? I was standing in a subway line. You want to know what this man? You know what this motherfucker told me? This motherfucker told me. He's like, so, yeah, we don't have a lot to do out here, so like we go watch movies. I was like, oh, that's cool. You seen any good movies? Before I even got a chance to finish that question, homeboy said meth. Meth. Not even lying to me. Meth. And everyone that was around him and everyone that heard him say that was just like, yeah, fair enough, yeah. There's really nothing else to do here. And it's funny because that wasn't even the worst one. Because the last thing he said was beat our wives. And I don't know if that was supposed to be like a ha-ha boomer joke, but like no one was laughing. No one said, oh, that's fucked up. No one said nothing like that. They just, yeah, sure, I guess that's what we do. Like the fact that is so true is shocking. I'm so glad I don't live out there.
Expensive. Miami, Florida, a city known for doing everything the Bible tells you not to do. Known for good restaurants, good-looking people, good-looking views, and a whole heaping of STDs. And if that's the lifestyle for you, all you have to do is pay on average $2,840 a month on rent. Good God, that is expensive. On the cheap side, we have Albuquerque, New Mexico. Not great, but it's not Arizona, and you're only paying $950 a month. Expensive. San Francisco, known for its gay population and smashed windows. $3,000 a month on rent.
And
God
poop.
damn it. Cheap. Buffalo, New York. Have you ever met someone from Buffalo, New York? It's like they all just witnessed a murder and they don't want to talk about it. On average, $1,000 for rent. Expensive. Jersey City, New Jersey. It's right next to New York City, so people who can't afford New York City go to live there, and now that's raising the rent prices because it is $3,000 a month. Despite the bullying, get an apartment in the Bronx. Cheap. Kansas City, Missouri. It's Missouri. $1,000 a month. And then expensive New York City, $3,500 a month, but it's New York City. The Big Apple. There's a homeless man's.
So where's my money, right? Where's my money? I told you. Didn't I tell you all the inexpensive places are in the middle of the country? I told you. Gotta love being right.
Gonna yell at you, and then you get bit by a rat. There's no good place to live in this goddamn country anymore. Holy shit. So there you go. Make some decisions. Make some good decisions. Just don't move. Just don't move at all. It's time for an ad. Back to the ads. Sorry. Do you smell that? Can you smell the winds of change? The smell of a new identity blooming from a perfectly procured fragrance, not only defining who you are, but who you want to be? Or maybe it's this shirt. I haven't done laundry in a couple weeks. We're talking about Scentbird, baby. It's a fragrance delivery service that sends you new designer scents every month for just $17 a month. I mean, personally, I love walking through dead malls in order to get to a Macy's so I can buy a $150 bottle of perfume that I'm probably not going to ever wear because it's not perfect for me. But if you are like me, aka smart and charming, then Scentbird has you covered. With each scent from their service, you get a 30-day supply, so you can try out fragrances before committing to a full-size bottle. It also says here it offers affordable and flexible subscription plans, and you can also skip or cancel your subscription anytime, making it a hassle-free experience. There's no surprises with what you get every month because they let you pick, which is fantastic if you're like a goat or a possum, which is a large percentage of my following. They have over 700 perfumes and colognes and a lot of unisex options, so it's got a little something for everyone. They carry things like Gucci, Versace, Prada, as well as indie brands like Skylar, Heretic, and Confessions of Rebel. They sent me a bunch this month, and I want to talk about two of them. We have Mondays from Confessions of Rebel, which smells like you're going out on the weekend in a really cool way, not a douchey way. And then we have Sonic Flower by Room 1015. I think that's what the brand is. I asked for this one again. They gave it to me in the first one I ever made. This is the best scent I've ever had in my life. I'm going to actually buy it, and I don't wear colognes. I didn't before Scentbird, but now I do. Use code BIGTALK 55 off. 55% off your first order at Scentbird.com, and if you do the math, that's a little over $7 for your first order, and that is an insane deal. I'm sure there will be a link in my description, so click it. Scentbird. There's no slogan for Scentbird. That's good enough, because I've tried a million times, and they don't use any of them. Not one. I'm gonna stop working with you guys if I didn't love your scent.
I'm not saying it's bad, but as a cologne or frag head myself, let me get just a second. Where are they? That one's good. That one's fantastic. And this one. Now, just wanted to put this in here. So if you do go to Scentbird, there's a couple that I feel like you should get. Nautica Voyage. It smells like your dad. I can almost guarantee you your dad at one point wore Nautica Voyage. It's great. You actually don't even really have to go to Scentbird to get it. $20 on Amazon. I think I paid like $18.23 for it because they had a fucking sale. Next one. What is it? Gucci Guilty. Get the Pour Homme. Now, if you don't know what that is, literally, it's Gucci Guilty, then literally POURHOMME. MME, pour on. Gucci Guilty pour on. Absolutely fantastic. It smells like you're a young man, but not like one of those dickheads. You know what I'm saying? Or he mentioned it too, actually. Versace Eros, fire. Now you'll hear people say that this is overrated, but it smells like a sweet candied green apple. How do you not like with mint? How do you not like that? But those are just my suggestions. I have like 15 different bottles of this type of shit. I swear to God. I went down a rabbit hole and I just haven't gone back.
So in 2023, 25.6 million Americans decided to move from one place to another, which is a whole bunch of people making a mistake all at once. With that many people relocating annually, it's no surprise that the moving industry constantly clears over $20 billion a year, every year. But who's raking in that cash? Well, it's mostly the moving companies. The moving companies are the ones who are making the most money off of your suffering. The backbone of an industry that begs the question, what if I didn't want to pick stuff up and instead pay an immigrant to do it for me? Well, luckily there are about 17,000 moving companies in this great old US of A, so you won't struggle finding one, but you might have a hard time finding a good one because, fun fact, over 10% of all moving companies have an F from the Better Business Bureau. That's hard to say, but that's not a good fact. And you know how all those moving companies have really good reviews online? Well, the Better Business Bureau has a statistic that says at least 9% of those are all made up. And the people who moved me into this apartment stood in front of me and said, "Can you leave us a good review?" And he was a very tall Romanian man, so I just left him a good review while he was standing there, and he left. They did okay, but I wouldn't have done that. In 2022 alone, the Better Business Bureau received 15,198 formal complaints against moving companies. So let
me run something by you again. If you didn't know, now you do know. I had a lot of jobs. I've worked a lot of jobs, and working for U-Haul was one of them. So this is just another thing that speaks to me. It was one of the reasons I did this video. Let me tell you something. These people do not care about your shit. I cannot tell you how many times someone would put fragile or fragile on their boxes because it's like kitchen stuff, and they would mark their boxes. It looks all nice and pretty. They get a fucking label maker, and they just throw their shit. They will just throw your shit. It does not matter whatsoever. So if the movers don't break it when they take it to the U-Haul box, it in the U-Haul box is going to get jostled around because it's on an 18-wheeler, which I said earlier I used to drive, and you'll see it says air ride suspension, so it's a soft ride. No, not at all. They're lying to you. And I mean, if that makes you angry, get prepared. Get prepared for this next one. As it jostles around, right? You can get insurance on your stuff. And I 110% recommend getting max insurance every time you do that. Because we will take it off the truck. The box itself looks fine. But then as soon as that person opens that box, whatever was in there is dust. Like, I've seen anything from kitchenware to a safe. A gun safe. Broken. Like, the door itself came off. And this man did not purchase insurance. So this man had $20,000 worth of guns in I think it was like a $15,000 safe or something like that. And he was like, well, someone's got to pay for it. And so the moving company that loaded it up will pass it on to the person in the truck. The person in the truck will be like, oh, I didn't know. How am I supposed to know? I can't open anything. I don't have the keys to the locks or anything, so it couldn't have been me. Or they'll pass it on to us, where it's like, yeah, we held your stuff, so the truck can come pick it up and move it. And so it's just like a constant, oh yeah, no, it's this person's problem. No, it's this person's problem. No, it's this person's problem. So if you do move, for the love of God, get max insurance, please. Also, side note, bugs will get in your stuff. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it happens. Like, a lot. I can't tell you how many times I'd open a box, or I'd see someone open their box, and roaches, mice, crickets, spiders, snakes, all that just falls out. Because someone forgot something in there, and then the mice got in, and then the snakes went or the mice, right? And the bugs are just bugs. What are you going to do about that? But please, for the love of God, if you can do it by yourself, do it by yourself. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. but just do it. You can keep an eye on all your stuff and you don't have to worry about it breaking. And if it does, it's your fault because you decided to be a fucking goofy. Or if you're going to pay someone to do it, Max Insurance. Max Insurance. Max Insurance. I'll say it again. Max Insurance, please, for the love of God.
Let me just break down all the reasons why moving companies suck and will fuck you over in such a
he might get into it.
cataclysmic way. So when moving companies aren't outright scamming you, they're screwing you over in technically legal ways. One recent survey revealed that 64% of Americans who hired a moving company paid way more than they were quoted. About $2,200 on average, they paid more than what they thought they were going to pay. And with all that in the mix, the average 2023 mover paid about $4,500 to get their shit moved from one place to another by using companies. I mean, of course, if you have a bunch of like armoires and grand pianos, it's going to cost more, but on average it's $150 an hour, and they're gonna take their sweet ass time getting it out of there. But keep that in mind, this doesn't count for the times that they take all your
hey, right here. This exact picture. This was me daily. Now, mind you, these all these boxes that are 4 high might not even be connected. This could be one person's stuff, this could be one person's stuff, one person's stuff, one person's stuff, right? And you might be thinking to yourself, why are they all stacked like that? 2 high seems fine. 3 high might be a little excessive, but 4 high is kind of crazy. You would be correct, because it's not uncommon for us to find someone's order, right? We need to pick it out. Their order happens to be this box, so we have to take these off one by one, which is a pain in the ass. And then you'd look at the top of this box, and this box would be fucking crushed. And people like to pack all their shit in there to the top, so they don't have to pay for an extra box, bro. So whatever you put at the top is crushed. These boxes are rated for like, I think 500 pounds. Like the box itself is like 500 pounds, and then you can fit, I think it's like maybe it's 1,000 pounds worth of stuff in there, right? And well, people aren't gonna weigh it. They don't care. They're going to stick as much stuff in there as they possibly can, to the point where the forklift might not be able to pick it up. So you can just picture if this is your stuff, and this guy did what normal people do, and this person did what they normally did, and let's just say each of these boxes somehow were only 500 pounds. That's 1,500 pounds on top of this box that is not rated for that. It is going to get crushed. Your stuff is going to get crushed. It's actually insane. But yeah, this is essentially what the warehouse looks like.
Your items and put them in a warehouse and hold them for ransom. Yeah. Because that happens a lot. They do that a lot. So this happens when moving companies provide low initial costs. They take all your stuff, hit you with a big old bill that you weren't expecting, and you say, hey, I'm not going to pay that. Then they just hold all your stuff. And they say you're not going to get it back until you pay that money. And then they charge you interest every day that they have to hold your stuff. And it's a scam. It's a scam. One company in New York City got caught cheating 800 customers out of $3 million with this scam. And that's where I live. That's where I live. So all that considered, let's say you...
He also forgot, I don't expect him to know it, but get this. This is quite shocking, right? So if you don't pay for your shit, and obviously you just don't get it back, but what he didn't say is they will sell your shit. Like if it's there for long enough, they'll just sell your shit. Like I've seen it. They'll do it in auction. Like they'll have a bunch of people just show up or whatever, and they'll take the box down, cut the lock off, and open it. Well, no, actually, they'll take the box down and they'll be like, hey, this box was blah blah blah. It's going for this much. Who wants to bid on it? And then they'll bid on it. Then they'll cut the box open, and then the person, everything that was in that box is now yours. Like they do it. They do that kind of shit. So, ew. Oh fuck! Damn it! Is that U-Haul? He's talking about U-Hauls. What a surprise!
Companies provide low initial costs. They take
Hashtag fuck U-Haul.
all your stuff, hit you with a big old bill that you weren't expecting, and you say, hey, I'm not going to pay that. Then they just hold all your stuff. And they say you're not going to get it back until you pay that money. And then they charge you interest every day that they have to hold your stuff.
And it's exorbitant interest too.
It's a scam. It's a scam. One company in New York City got caught cheating 800 customers out of $3 million with this scam, and that's where I live. That's where I live. So all that considered, let's say you decide not to use a moving company. Well, let me tell you, that is an equally, if not more shitty move that will have dire consequences for the rest of your life. I mean, for one, moving is not a 1 or 2 person job. You're gonna have friends and family show up to help you out with this thing. And guess what? Fun fact, in the entirety of the human race, nobody has ever been pumped to help someone move ever. No one ever wants to help you do that. So now instead of paying movers, you either have to bribe or blackmail your friends and family into helping you out with pizza, beer, or a picture of them cheating on their wife. And let's say you are able to accomplish that and get all your...
See? Pizza. I told you, it works every time.
your friends to help you out. Well, it's still a dick move to ask them, so now you're losing friends and mental health for the chance to not spend any money on a mover. And then there's the matter of getting your own moving vehicle, aka U-Haul. I don't have time to go into why U-Haul sucks so much, but I'm just gonna hit the high note. You have employees that are underqualified and unhelpful on the most stressful day of your life.
Well. I mean, you're not necessarily wrong. You're not necessarily wrong, bro. Yeah, no, that's 100%. I had not to say that one.
Hidden fees everywhere. God forbid you scratch the inside of.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, he's gonna get into that part, but also this, I can pretty much tell you how this works. So, this is booking. This is essentially just booking. If you want to book the thing, it's like $19. That's not bad. So you think, oh yeah, it's fine, it's whatever. And then they're like, how many miles are you gonna use it? And they pay per mile. And then in the trucking industry, people who do this for a job, they get paid cents per mile, right? A good cents per mile, at least now, according to inflation and good shit like that, would be anywhere between like 68, 75 cents. 75 cents is great. 75 cents is great per mile, because we'll go 2,000, 3,000 miles, bro. So that's great. That's some good stuff right there. You know what I'm saying? But these motherfuckers will charge you like $1.40 per mile. So you might be thinking, oh, I'm moving like 5 miles down the road. So, and it's not just you're moving the 5 miles down the road. You're moving 5 miles down the road to pick up your stuff and then bring it there. And then, for God forbid, you have to do another trip. And then you also have to fill it up with gas. And with how gas is, that's way too goddamn expensive. And so it's gas for there and back, essentially. And the mileage for there and back. So you can see how that gets to 60 very, very quick. And 60 is a low estimate. I'm telling you that right now. It's a very, very, very low estimate.
Of a moving van with furniture, you're gonna get hit with a fee. Who's not doing that every time they use a moving van? And let's not forget their reserve a truck system that does not work. You have a day that you have to move on. You call them or go online and book a truck. You show up the day of and they say, we don't have any trucks. Sorry, we don't have any trucks for you. And then they give
God, he's just hitting. He's hitting. This man's spitting up my facts. So the thing, interestingly enough, the person I'm living with right now, I met at working at U-Haul. And the system that they use, I don't know like how they're doing it, but their servers are garbage. And when I mean garbage, I mean like absolute dog shit. Like, the internet just came out. Dial-up service would be better than what they use right now. And if someone books something online, it might not show up in time for someone who's at the store booking that shit right now, or vice versa. So you'll have 6 trucks, 3 people did it online, 2 people did it over the phone, 1 person came in. And then there's a 7th person on the day that came in, and then one of the ones that were online, one of the ones on the phone didn't go through yet, or something like that. And then that 7th person that didn't reserve anything just shows up and gets that extra person's truck. That's just how that works. It shouldn't, but it does.
give you like $100 in compensation, as if that makes up for literally anything.
They say they give you compensation. I've never once seen it in my entire life, and I worked there for like almost 2 years.
Will not give you a moving truck when you need one. I can't even describe how insanely shitty that is. I have no funny comparisons or analogies to relate to U-Haul not having a moving truck for you, because there is no other company that does something like that. That's insane. Oh, and also
there is, but they're bad and they cost more. Enterprise does it, but they usually do it for businesses, and Penske does it. They do it for people, but mostly for businesses as well. You can get trucks through them, but they cost more. So, why would you want to? That's why it seems like U-Haul has a monopoly. They don't, but where else are you gonna go?
Let's not forget the fact that you just have to drive a giant box truck on a busy highway. Or
this is 27 foot truck, and you need no special license to drive this, which is crazy, because if you have a CDL, or you know anyone with a CDL, I have a CDL, my roommate has a CDL, this truck, you would need at least a Class B to drive. At least a Class B. I have a Class A, which means I can drive anything. Like literally anything. I have a Class A with like 3 certifications on it, but yada yada. And I can drive that, 18-wheelers, anything down to a motorcycle legally on the road. So the fact that you can be an incompetent fuck and still drive that thing is actually insane. I can't tell you how many accidents and scrapes, scratches, and like property damage people do with that type of shit, and I feel like U-Haul's banking on that shit, because a tiny little scratch, $300. So picture if your dad hit a fucking tree or went through a drive-through and didn't realize that, you know, this fence is tall. He needs, you know, more room. Takes off like part of the roof. Good luck.
Or tiny streets all by yourself with no prior experience doing something.
Oh, and I forgot, no backup camera. A lot of these have 0 backup cameras whatsoever. Good fucking luck.
Like that, I almost puked the first time I had to do that. So yeah, there's no good way to accomplish a move. You either have to spend millions of dollars to get things from one room to another, or you have to lose all your friends and family. So enjoy picking one, King. Just stay where you are. So before you even get to move to your new but somehow shittier apartment, you have to pick your new but somehow shittier apartment. This is a situation that 20 years ago was a nightmare, but nowadays it has gotten to an apocalyptic event. The amount of BS and scams you have to deal with while apartment hunting is
$800, 3-bedroom, 1,300 square feet. No, yeah, 1,320 square feet. It's not terrible. It's not terrible, I would suppose. I'd have to see more. But what the fuck is this? Cats are okay, but what the fuck is this, bro?
awe-inspiring and jaw-dropping. I'm not even going to spend time on brokers, which are pretty much just real estate agents, but for apartments, and all they do is open a door and then show you around a 600-foot square apartment, and then you ask them a few questions, and then they charge you $2K when you get the apartment. The apartment housing industry is full of cockroaches and middlemen that just take money from you. And the worst part is they're feeding off of our essential need for housing. This is not like a free market. You need to live somewhere because the other option is homelessness. So instead, you just accept every scam they throw your way and hope you just live somewhere soon. That's all you do. So let me just lay out some of the most common scams that come with moving and apartment hunting so that you can try and avoid them the best you can, because I didn't have a video like this when I moved, and now I can't afford to get my wisdom teeth out. Up first, we have the don't ask, don't tell scams. Something that I couldn't think of a better name for, but it has nothing to do with gay people, but whatever. So when looking for a new spot to live, just assume that everyone you're talking to does not have your best interest at heart. For them, this is just a transaction, but for you, it's going to be your home. So there's a little bit of a disconnect between how important this is. So it's really important to ask every question you possibly can when you're looking at a new apartment. Like, let's say you're one of those weirdos with an exotic bird as a pet. Just one of those perverts. Never will you ever see an apartment listing that says we accept exotic birds. So you got to check in about that. But people who show you apartments are hoping you don't ask specific questions like that so they can screw you on the security deposit on the way out. They never give you a full out spiel. They always ask you if you have any questions, hoping you're not going to ask the important ones. God forbid you forget to ask about hot water and then you're stuck taking cold showers for an entire year. And it is awkward just standing there asking questions of someone in a big empty apartment, but just get it all out in front because they're hoping.
This might be like a extrovert thing because I'm an extrovert, but I will stand there all fucking day and ask you every goddamn question. You better have a fucking answer for it. I swear to God. Like, I don't know why you act like I'm fucking playing in this bitch. But also, bugs. You're not gonna ask because you don't want them, but chances are they're there. Because let me tell you something. As someone who does pest control, I've done a lot. I've done a lot. We haven't even scratched the surface and everything I've done. That's crazy. Fuck was I saying? Bugs. So, as someone who does pest control, when people move out of their apartments, you know, they clean. They hire the company that owns the apartment hires a cleaning company. They come in and clean, right? Then it's our turn. We go in and we spray for bugs. And as you saw from the last graph that he had up with those apartments that are being built and whatnot, what happens is the barrier that we put around that vacant apartment creates just that, a barrier. And the bugs that are there, some of them will die, but the ones that don't go in someone else's apartment. And so when you show up and you move in and you think it's fine and you don't think there are any bugs, after a while the barrier wears off, and guess what? The bugs come back. Ooh. So you're never gonna hear someone be like, "Oh yeah, there are no bugs here." You're never gonna hear them say, "Oh yeah, there are bugs here." They're never gonna hear that. They're just gonna tell you, "I've never seen one." It's like, of course you haven't seen one. I do my job. So little tidbit, just extra knowledge for you from one expert to another king like or queen like yourself, right? What you need to do. When you get there, go to the cupboards. Make sure everything is sealed. Make sure wood is touching wood. Make sure there are no holes, especially under the sink. Look under and behind the fridge. Pull out the stove if you have to. Open the stove, okay? Because you might not see them on the stove, but you might see them in the stove. People don't do this. And that goes for the bathrooms as well. Check the corners, literally, of every room. Check the corners, because sometimes bugs will hide up in the fucking corners, especially if you're on the top roof or on the top floor. They will hide in the corners and they will sit there, and you might not ever see them. So look, also, it sounds stupid, but I'm telling you, go on ahead and do it. Smack the outlets and the walls. And I mean, obviously, don't put a fucking hole in them. You're fucking barbarian. Like, don't be doing all that. But, tap them, because cockroaches will hide behind those. I can't tell you how many times I'd tap it and I'd see cockroaches come out. They will hide in those sockets, and they will hide there for days. They can go months without food. So, and if you can, bring a screwdriver and take them out. You might see carcasses of the cockroaches. And cockroaches engage in a practice called necrophagy, where they will eat each other if there's not enough food. They will find a dead one and they will eat the dead one. Okay? Disgusting. Telling you, do these things whenever you're about to move into an apartment. You can do them when you're going into a house. There's more for a house, but we're talking about apartments right now. If you want me to do a breakdown, I got you.
Hoping you don't ask questions. Then we have the LOL JK apartment scams, which are happening way more frequently nowadays. The internet is littered with these types of horror stories. People get tricked into renting apartments that aren't actually for rent. Or they think they're renting an apartment that somebody already lives in. It's become such a problem that the FBI received 11,578 reports of rental scam in 2022, an increase of 64%. So if you see an apartment that looks dope as hell, but the landlord's not going to give you an in-person tour or even a virtual tour, big red flag, huge ass red flag. This usually means that there isn't a place for rent, or that they're not actually a landlord, which is crazy to me, because that means there's a kind of human that's lower than landlord, which is a human pretending to be a landlord. They're just trying to get info from you or money from you, and then they're just going to ghost you. And it is crazy how much personal info you have to give to a stranger in order to get an apartment. Like, they need to do a background check, they need your social security, you get your birthday. It's so easy to steal someone's identity. I might just get into that business. I might give up on this YouTube shit. Also, if a landlord is super eager for you to sign the lease and pay immediately, that's a big red flag as well. Especially if they're asking you to send money through a sketchy service like Venmo or Cash App or a wire transfer or gift cards.
And now
if you,
crypto.
in the modern era, are paying someone in gift cards and you don't know immediately you're getting scammed, you're a moron. You deserve to get the money taken from you if you're going to buy Google Play cards. But besides gift cards, every payment process I just mentioned is almost impossible to get your money back. So that's why they use those things. But it's also crazy because the apartment I'm standing in currently asked me to pay for my deposit through Venmo. So there's no way to know if it's a scam or not. I just had to blindly go into it because I needed a place to live. And the biggest red flag about the LOLJK scam is if they don't live in the country. Once again, pretty obvious, but a lot of people don't realize that that's a huge issue. I mean, sometimes landlords don't live in the same country where they own the property. I mean, every Chicago pay meter for parking is owned by Saudi Arabians. Fun fact. But you should insist on meeting your landlord in person before giving them any money. I mean, even if they do live in another country, that just means you're going to have like a terrible back and forth with overseas hours on trying to get a light bulb fixed in your apartment. But I mean, a lot of the times it does mean they're scamming you. I mean, some of them have gone even so far as to send you fake keys in the mail to make you feel like you're actually getting an apartment, so you send the money. But through all of these steps, at the end of the day, if you ask to meet them in person or you ask to like see the apartment, they'll just move on to the other 500 applicants that are trying to get the same apartment. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, landlords end up getting the longest road and the largest army, and you're just pissing through development cards, trying to get victory points, and ending up with a pile of knights. Does anyone play Catan? Actually, you know what? Let me talk about landlords real quick.
Damn.
I don't like the term landlord. It's too fancy of a title for what the job actually is. Here's some alternative names I've given landlords. Rent raiser, the strange bald man in my Venmo feed, not a plumber, but the person I talk to most about my toilet, CEO of not doing anything at all, the only reason I've ever cleaned an oven ever, cat vomit stain inspector, and the only person I still lie to about smoking weed. But
they also forgot dick ass. That's my favorite, personally. Personally. Dick ass.
let's talk about security deposits real quick. In 37 U.S. states, landlords are allowed to collect interest on your security deposit, but only 5.6% of renters actually get the interest on your deposit. They don't give you the money that they're earning interest on. So not only does a landlord take your security deposit and put it in a bank and earn interest on it, but the majority of the time, people just don't get their security deposit back in the first place. Around 25% of renters do not get security deposits back based off of bullshit parameters that the
25. That's got to be. That seems really low. Out of everyone I know that has rented a place, not a single one of them has ever gotten their shit back.
landlord just made up. Only 29% of landlords give you a itemized receipt of all the things you messed up at the old apartment to prove why you don't get a security deposit back. So all that seems like we should make laws to stop this from happening, right? Well, every state has landlord-tenant laws, but because tenants are generally poorer than the landlord, we can't pursue legal action, because not only does it take $1,000 to move out of the apartment, it costs thousands of dollars to pursue that legal action about the old apartment. The net worth of most renters, which is, you know, what the money they have laying around, is $600 to $300, so they can't afford $4K in goddamn law fees. So trying to get a security deposit back while chewing up your life savings and
God, look at those fucking nails. That pinky nail specifically, I know she does coke, bro.
Claims court is just not feasible. Let's not forget about the made-up fees that your prior landlord is going to hit you with when you move out. Let's not forget about all that bullshit. Fees for not returning keys, something that they have 40 copies of in their office. Cleaning fees, you know, they charge you to clean the apartment after you leave, even though you clean the shit out of it. And fun fact, they didn't clean it before you got there, and they're not going to clean it after you leave. They charge you a fee per hole in plaster because you're hanging up paintings, because you're not just going to sit with blank white walls your whole life, but it's $50 per hole, so enjoy that. Fun fact, there was holes before I got here. Then there's painting fees if any paint chips off.
Yeah, actually, he mentioned, he didn't get into it, but he mentioned it. When you're moving into a place, take pictures of everything, like literally everything, like every outlet, every wall, every corner, the condition that everything is in when you got there. Because I've heard that does help. I mean, I've never been able to implement it, but that's definitely what I'm going to do when I get a chance to do that.
Off the wall, which that's just bad paint job. That's your fault, and they're going to charge you to redo it. And that's why there's little pieces of white paint on hardwood floors in New York City in every apartment, because the painters don't know how to paint. It's usually just the landlord doing it himself. He's not paying any money to do it. And there's the oven cleaning fee. I probably hit that a couple times in this video already. It's why do you care? Why do you care if I clean the oven? Oh, and they also charge you stovetop knob fees. You know, on your stovetop where they have little knobs to turn on the burners. Those are made of the same plastic of Solo cups. They break and fall off all the time. So if any of those are missing, they're going to charge you for that. Some places charge per light bulb that is missing and busted, which is great because they wouldn't fix it while you live there, but once you leave, they can charge out the ass for it. And batteries and fire detectors. But that's on me. I take those batteries out because if I'm a little stoned, I don't want the cops showing up. So there you have it. I don't know if I explained what I was trying to explain this video, but just don't move. It's everything about the process is terrible. Finding a new apartment, paying the movers, but dealing with the landlord before and after you show up. Just stay where you live, because your devil might suck, but it's better to know your devil than meet a new one. New videos every Saturday. Thanks for sticking around. And once again, shout out to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. God, I love Scentbird. Go to Scentbird.com and use code BigTug55 off to get 55% off your first purchase and $7 for your first round of scents. It's fantastic. I love Scentbird. Link it by. Oh my God, how did I forget about application fees? Oh my God, the fact that they charge you just to try and look at an apartment is insane.
He's not, bro. Homeboy's not wrong. I swear to you, God. But he didn't really get into bugs. But you know, again, if you wanted me to do a video, like a standalone video, I could do that myself, because I've been, good Lord, I have seen, I even have like reference pictures too of shit that I've seen. So if you do want to see that, let me know. Put it in the comments below. Shout out to Big Tug. Go subscribe to that, man. And I'll see you guys later.